Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, helping to build and enrich the cultural life of Greater Kalamazoo.
Last week I heard somebody come in and ask for a Coors Light. Well, I'm sorry, we only serve beer that we brew here. And so he said, okay, well, give me whatever you recommend. And so we gave him Thunder Trail ESB, which is it's an English style that tends to be more malt forward. There's a decent amount of hop character there, but it's a pretty far cry from a Coors Light. And this guy loved it, and he ended up having 3 of them. Didn't know that beer could taste like this. So, you know, that happens all the time, and it's really just a matter of, there are so many different beer styles and beers out there. It's really just a matter of finding what suits you.
I'm here with Tim Suprise, the founder of Arcadia Brewing Company, and this is an arts show, obviously, and I'm here in the middle of a brewing company, downtown Kalamazoo. Some people may ask, art? I don't get it.
I'd like to think that art is woven into a lot of what we do here at Arcadia Brewing Company. As you might know, we got started 20 years ago in Battle Creek, and so over the years we needed to expand, ran out of little capacity in Battle Creek, and in 2013 we landed on the Kalamazoo River with 400 feet of riverfront on a brownfield site that once housed mostly power generation facilities. And I'd like to think we've taken an artistic approach to not only the space that we've developed, but in how we make not only the beers that we sell to the public, but our food and the space that we're in terms of having a little bit of a creative element to it.
We talk about the river here and how great the landscape looks, and there is an aspect of public use to your facility as well as your private business here. How does that work?
We're located at the juncture of a few key neighborhoods: the Kalamazoo North Side, the East Side, Millwood area, and downtown. And part of what we've tried to weave into this space, the artistic, the creative components of it, also include all communal seating. We're really trying to, and feel privileged to have a part in this community, in both communities actually, that brings people together over something convivial like food and beverage, but also in a space that affords them the chance to engage with each other. There are no 2 tops, there are no 4 tops. You got to sit next to somebody that you may not know. And we appreciate that opportunity because it's helping, I think, bring people together in the community.
Now this is a keg here. Am I like mistaking this as a keg? Is this something that I can rent for my fraternity? This would last probably 5 years, but what exactly is this?
This is the mash tun. This is the first vessel in the brewing process. This is where our grains are mixed with hot water. And the purpose of that is to extract all the fermentable sugars from the grains at a certain temperature, about 150 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. There are enzymes that are reacting in the grains that convert the starches that are naturally in the grains into fermentable sugars.
There's a lot of craft brewers out there. What separates Arcadia Ales from the rest?
Well, Arcadia is a traditional English style brewery, and we do all open fermentation. So open fermentation is literally like a giant stainless steel bucket. Most breweries have closed tanks that are completely sealed and pressurized. And what this open fermentation allows us to do is harvest yeast off of the top. And by doing that, we're harvesting it while it's the most viable, while it's still active. And that allows us to keep that yeast going continuously. Most breweries only get about 15 generations out of a yeast strain before they have to start a fresh one up again. We're over 1,000 generations now here at Arcadia.
One of the unique aspects that you have in your styles of ale is the open air concept. Explain that and how you came to that and why you've elected to stay with it.
20 years ago, I met a British expatriate called Alan Pugsley. He's still a dear friend. Alan taught me and taught us the art and craft of open fermentation brewing. This is a tradition that goes back literally centuries to the United Kingdom, to Germany, to Belgium, among other countries. And we use a single proprietary strain of yeast that originated at a brewery in 1971 in England. And that yeast came into our facility in Battle Creek in 1996 and has been our house strain ever since.
Wow.
So open fermentation, utilizing a single distinctive yeast strain, has its distinct advantages and characteristics, very estery, aromatic qualities that can only be achieved through a very distinctive fermentation process. So we've been very privileged to be a part of a legacy of brewers throughout the world that have been, not very many, but a few that have been able to use this particular yeast strain.
You can definitely say that there's a house flavor, you know, a common theme in all of our beers. We've gotten pretty good at manipulating our yeast to, you know, really let it shine when we want it to, and we know how to make it take a back seat when we want it to. But there is definitely a common thread through all of our beers, and that's really coming from that ringwood yeast. During fermentation, it creates all sorts of different fruity byproducts, lots of strawberry and raspberry. So that's where our house flavor comes from, is the use of only the one yeast strain.
Art hop is something that has taken a life of its own on. The Kalamazoo Institute of Arts has sponsored this for a number of years. They approached us last year, and together, in partnership with them, we crafted the Art Hops beer. And together with the Arts Council, created a beer inspired to bring the community together, but also in such a unique way that engaged the local artists in the community to submit their label as a part of a contest. And that really has made the whole art hop function add another element and dimension, and we're going to continue this on an annual basis. The beer will continue to be a partnership between the Millennium Restaurant Group, Imperial Beverage, and Arcadia Brewing Company as a charitable endeavor to give money from some of the proceeds of the sale of that beer to the Arts Council, but it also affords the community to continue to be engaged and the local artists to participate in the annual label contest.